We reported last night a new CBS New York Times poll says that over half the voters have an unfavorable opinion of Hillary Clinton and also Donald Trump. So I have to ask you, do you ever think, man, I should have run?
Well, you know, I had planned on running, and I knew why I wanted to run. Who knows how well I would have done, but when my son had that battle for a year with cancer and we lost him, he was the Attorney General of the state, he was my closest advisor, I just, quite frankly, didn't have the stomach to do it. So it was the right decision for me and my family to make. But it's a rough political year.
I'll tell you, that is the number one question people wanted me to ask you today is, do you see any possibility that you could step in this race?
No, I don't. And I've learned something very important. If you want to become very popular, announce you're not running for president.
Yes, sir, I can only imagine. What do you think it's going to take for a presidential candidate to be elected, for them to soothe this angry electorate?
Well, I think we have to stop. Look, there's nothing wrong with the American people. The political system's broken. You know, we're confusing authenticity with crudeness. We're confusing our opposition with enemies. We're questioning people's motives instead of their judgment. I mean, I really do think the American public's looking for more civility. I'm very proud, I mean it sincerely. You expect me to say this is a Democrat, but I'm very proud of the way the Democrats have been conducting themselves in their debates. But it is, you know, I think the American people are just sick and tired. I am sick and tired of the way it's being conducted, and I feel confident that we'll produce a nominee who will be able to make a case to the American people.
Is Mitch McConnell within the rules to not have a hearing on the Senate, or rather the Supreme Court nominee?
No, look, the Constitution is very precise. It says the president shall nominate, not may, shall nominate with the advice and consent of the Senate. Doesn't mean they have to vote for him, but the rational reading of the Constitution says they have to respond. I was either chairman or the ranking member of the Judiciary Committee for 17 years. I presided over more Supreme Court nominees than anybody alive. And they always talk about the Biden rule. There was a simple Biden rule. The Biden rule was everyone who got nominated got a chance to meet with every member of the committee. Every single one of them got a hearing. Every one of them, even the ones who didn't get enough votes in the committee, got passed out of the committee to the floor, because the Constitution says the Senate shall advise and consent. Everyone got a vote on the floor. Everyone. None did we use a filibuster against. We could have filibustered the Thomas nomination. He didn't have 60 votes. Every single one, there's a constitutional rule, not the Biden rule. Not sometimes, not most of the time, all the time, all the time. The Senate doesn't have to vote for Merrick Garland. I voted against a couple nominees. You just have to consider them. Why spread the dysfunction? I really mean this, the dysfunction that exists in the Congress today to a second branch of the government. And look, it's not often we have a court split 4-4 like this in ideological lines. The net result is for the next 400 days, we're going to have laws applied differently in different states. You can have a postmaster bring a race discrimination case against someone in Colorado and be denied the right to do that, but he can go to Arizona and do it. It's a federal law, the federal Constitution. And this is a dangerous thing to spread to the court.
We're running out of time, but I do want to backtrack to, I know
Sure.
Cancer is so personal to you and your family, but you have launched an initiative to fight back. Tell me about that.
Well, it's the President's authorized me to be able to use all the resources of the federal government to be able to make a significant change in the way we attack cancer. What I learned from my own experience, and a lot of people have had this experience, is that I learned in the last 5 years, we're really at an inflection point. The progress made in the last 5 years is immense. It used to be there was only one way you treated cancer. You tried to excise the tumor, you did heavy doses of radiation, then heavy doses of chemotherapy, targeted as you could, not only killed the cancer cells, it killed the immune system. But now you have immunologists working with geneticists, working with virologists. There is collaboration taking place, and we're at an inflection point. And so I've been going around the country. I went out to the Hutchinson Center, named after
I was
a
going to
coach
ask you
right
about that.
here. And well, they're one of the first-rate operations in the country. I've been all over the country. And the one thing I've learned is, although there's increasing collaboration, they all acknowledge there's a need for a lot more collaboration, a lot more concentration on where all these genomes done of cancer cells and tissue samples should all reside in one place, or be aggregated, because we now have the ability to do 1,000 billion calculations per second of the computer. And we're about to approach 1 billion. The ability to go through all that data and look for that needle in the haystack that allowed the one therapy to work on you but not on you and not on me can be done now. And so one of the hardest things to do is to get everybody to share a little bit more. That's what we're working on.
Does it give you hope? Do you see
I do.
some solutions in your travels?
I do. For example, when I was at the Hutch Cancer Center, when I was down at Duke University, for example, a young woman at Duke had the same exact glioblastoma my son did, stage 4. They opened up her brain, they injected a poliovirus. It attached to the cancer, it brought in all the immune system to kill that cancer. She finished nursing school, she's cancer-free. I mean, there are enormous, incredible stories made. Out at the Hutch, they learned that how to identify a marker in a woman that means she's overwhelmingly likely to be the victim of breast cancer. There are vaccines that have already been found to prevent cervical cancer in young women. So there's a lot of promise. And the single most significant thing we could do that would have the greatest impact, quite frankly, is change in lifestyle and environmental changes. And so I am convinced in the next 5 years we'll be able to accomplish what otherwise would have taken 15.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate your time.